So picture this, a world where everything, and I mean everything, is calculated, proven, and based on cold, hard facts. A world with absolutely no room for wonder. But what happens when the human spirit, totally starved of imagination, finds a little loophole? Well, that's what we're diving into today. This incredible collision, pulled from a chapter of Charles Dickens' Hard Times, where a rigid world of facts smacks right into the undeniable, irresistible pull of fancy.
This slide just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? On one side, you've got that universal feeling of being a kid, looking up at the sky and just wondering. And on the other side, that wonder gets completely replaced by a textbook and a diagram. Suddenly, the stars aren't a mystery to marvel at, they're a problem to be dissected and labeled, and that's the fundamental conflict we're about to see play out.
So who's the architect of this fact-only world? Well, let's meet Mr. Gradgrind. He's a man who proudly calls himself eminently practical, and he has built his entire life, and the lives of his kids, on a foundation of nothing but pure, unshakable facts.
Okay, so his whole philosophy, it's pretty simple and honestly pretty absolute. If you can't measure it, if you can't prove it with data, it's basically worthless. For his children, this means wonder is forbidden. Imagination? That's a dangerous distraction. The great mysteries of the universe aren't something to be amazed by, they're just specimens to be cataloged.
And this is just a brilliant example of his method in action. A kid in his school doesn't learn about the cow that jumped over the moon. Nope. Any story, any bit of magic is stripped away, and a cow is presented as its scientific definition, a graminivorous, ruminating quadruped. It's the perfect example of facts just bulldozing right over fancy.
And this whole idea, it's not just in his head, it's literally built into his house. Stone Lodge is a perfect reflection of his mind. It's symmetrical, calculated, and perfectly orderly. Even the garden is ruled into straight lines, like a page in an accounting ledger. It's fireproof, it's proven, it's safe. I mean, by his own definition, it's a house that has everything a heart could desire. But does it have a soul?
So, just as Mr. Gradgrind is walking home, feeling pretty good about his perfectly ordered world, something totally unexpected happens. His ears are invaded by a sound that is the absolute opposite of order and calculation. It's this sound of chaos and joy and music coming from just outside of town.
And where's all this wonderful chaos coming from? A traveling circus. Sleary's horse riding establishment. This place is the living, breathing embodiment of everything Mr. Gradgrind hates. Fun, entertainment, pure imagination. It's a world built not on facts, but on just sheer, unadulterated wonder.
And just look at what's on the bill. Nothing here is practical. Nothing is educational. It's all fantastical, it's absurd, and it's designed for one single purpose, to spark the imagination. You've got a performing dog, a guy juggling solid iron. This is the world of fancy brought to life.
Mr. Gradgrind, of course, just writes this all off as trivial nonsense. He's a practical man, right? But as he rounds a corner and ends up behind the circus tent, he makes a discovery that just stops him cold. He actually calls it a phenomenon almost incredible.
What does he see? He sees a bunch of kids, hiding, trying desperately to peek through cracks in the wooden planks to catch a glimpse of the very folly his entire system is designed to destroy. But the real shock is still to come.
Because this is the kicker, among those children, he finds his own, his metallurgical daughter Louisa and his mathematical son Thomas. The perfect, fact-filled products of his system are right there in the dirt, straining for just a tiny taste of the magical world he's told them is worthless.
He is, as the book says, just dumb with amazement. He marches over to confront his two so-called erring children. And in that one moment, the solid, fireproof walls of his whole philosophy have been breached, not by some outside force, but from within his own family. The confrontation that happens next, this is where we really start to see the deep, profound cracks forming in Gradgrind's perfect model. His kids' actions force a kind of reckoning that he is completely and utterly unprepared for.
He just can't wrap his head around it. I mean, from his perspective, he's given them everything, the entire circle of the sciences. They are replete with facts. So why on earth would they be here in what he sees as this degraded position, chasing after such utter nonsense?
And Louisa's answer, oh man, this is the crucial turning point. It's not an act of rebellion. She doesn't say she wanted to have fun. Her reply is so simple, and it's just heartbreakingly honest. I was tired. Tired of all of it. And this isn't just, sleepy tired. It's the deep exhaustion of a soul that has been completely starved. And in that moment, her father sees something in her face that he can't quantify. The book describes it as a fire with nothing to burn, a starved imagination keeping life in itself somehow. It's that little flicker of the human spirit that just refuses to be put out, even when it has no fuel.
So, how does our eminently practical Mr. Gradgrind respond to this raw, emotional confession from his daughter? Well, he can't process it. He can't deal with her pain, so he pivots. He completely shifts his focus to some external pressure.
He just dismisses her pain. He says she's being childish. He literally refuses to hear any more about it. And instead of trying to understand why his daughter is so exhausted, he brings up a question that reveals his own deep-seated anxieties.
This is the question that just haunts him on the walk home. What would Mr. Bounderby say? And that says everything, doesn't it? His supposedly pure, fact-based worldview is, in the end, governed by something as emotional and irrational as the fear of what other people think. And it leaves us with this story's great hanging question. Why does another man's opinion matter more than his own child's profound unhappiness? It really forces us to think about the true, devastating cost of a life without fancy.